You know you've got a comeback in you. When you take the next step, you're going to make it count. For your career, for your family, for your life. You can earn a degree you're proud of with Purdue Global. Purdue Global is backed by Purdue University, one of the nation's most respected and innovative public universities. This is your chance. This is your opportunity. This is your comeback. Purdue Global, Purdue's online university for working adults. Start your comeback today at purdueglobal.edu.
Hey, it's Kim Commando Today, your daily podcast to keep you up to date with all things digital and beyond. And I'd love to have you be a part of our podcast. You can make an appointment to speak with me. Just head over to commando.com, and on the top right, there's a button that says Email Kim. Fill that out, and that's it. You know, it's pretty dangerous being a kid on social media nowadays. You know, they all hang out on TikTok, Instagram, Snap, you name it. And it's just a matter of time, because you know what's going to happen before some weirdo adult says, this is a great opportunity for me. Well, there are some people in the world that are helping to combat this. And one of them is joining us right now. Her name is Roo Powell. And she's the founder of SOSA, Safe from Online Sex Abuse. And she's actually the force behind Undercover Underage on the Discovery Plus channel. Now, what she does, she poses as a teen online. And then Roo and her team, they expose these predators. And then they work with law enforcement to just bring them down. So, Roo, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So, when was the first time that you posed as a teen online?
So I was working at a tech company over 5 years ago now, and I really wanted to demonstrate the ubiquity of online predation. So my team, we put together a fake teenager, put her online so we could demonstrate what happens when a kid goes online. We ended up getting an influx of messages, and I ended up writing about it. And just because I wanted to share with parents what can happen online. One of those people that reached out, that ended up turning into a federal case. And at some point I decided this is something that I wanted to do. I really wanted to focus on what's happening online, which is the abuse and exploitation of children.
So how long did it take before that guy approached you the first time online?
Gosh, I mean, I say this and I scare parents all the time, but I say, give me your phone and I'll find someone for you in 30 seconds.
Oh, wow.
It does not take long at all. We post a new picture, or we put a kid online, or we drop a kid in a chat room, and the messages come in right away.
Now, there's some thought that I'm sure somebody's listening right now or watching, they're saying like, well, because you're baiting them. But you're not baiting them. You're just posting what a normal kid would, right?
Yeah, and in fact, I mean, there are these vigilante groups out there, and I understand the impetus behind them, or why they want to do that, right? They're trying to protect kids. But we are very specific and strict about how we go about this. So we're working with law enforcement from the outset. We meet with the district attorney's office. We know the requirements for prosecution. We know the rules of engagement. We do very good evidence collection. So when we do this, we're not just doing this willy-nilly because we're trying to find some bad guy online. It is a very specific operation that we're doing in conjunction with law enforcement in order to identify these bad actors or people that would harm kids in the community.
So tell me about one case.
Sure. Well, so yes, it is correct that sometimes I pose as somebody who's underage, but we also have other people on our team that pose as decoys. But one thing we also do is either pose as somebody who's been trafficked, a trafficked minor, or I pose as a bad guy who is actually selling a minor. I'm the trafficker. And we just had a case, it was a couple months ago, we did an operation with law enforcement, and we had a perpetrator show up with cash on hand showed up at a motel to purchase time with an 11-year-old. Oh. And he was subsequently arrested. And I think what was very shocking to our supporters, because we posted a photo online, is that he had showed up with a McDonald's Happy Meal. Oh, and that, just understanding that this can happen to any kid, regardless of socioeconomic status, regardless of gender, sexuality, kids are targeted. It's not about being a good kid or a smart kid or a kid from a dual parent household. Really, kids are targeted just for being kids online. And these perpetrators are manipulative and practiced. And I have this whole wall here. This is our perp wall. And the Child Rescue Coalition references a study that says your average perpetrator has 50 to 150 kids, 150 victims in their lifetime.
That's disgusting.
So this is very meaningful for us. We block out these faces on this wall because it's really less about the perpetrator and more about the kids they represent. Why are we doing this? And it's really because, every kid deserves to be safe.
And now I'm sure the perpetrators, they come from all walks of life, right?
Yes, unfortunately, I think, we watch TV, we watch, NCIS, we watch whatever, any cop show, and these perpetrators often look like monsters. They often look like really bad guys. But they run the gamut. Sometimes it's just like a very nice family man with a wife and kids. We've had high school teachers, medical professionals, Department of Children and Family Services worker. It's unfortunately, it's the guy behind you at the grocery store. It could be really anyone, which is why it's so important for parents and caregivers to talk to kids about online safety.
Nerds. Listeners, as we go into a new year, we all have a lot on our plates. There are backpacking trips across Europe to plan, personal bests to crush in the gym, and capsule wardrobes to create. Good thing our sponsor, NerdWallet, is here to take one thing off your plate: finding the best financial products. Introducing NerdWallet's 2025 Best of Awards list, your shortcut to the best credit cards, savings accounts, and more. The nerds have done the work for you, researching and reviewing over 1,100 financial products to bring you only the best of the best. Looking for a balanced transfer credit card with 0% APR? They've got a winner for that. Or a bank account with a top rate to hit your savings goals? They've got a winner for that too. Know you're getting the best products for you without doing all the research yourself. So let NerdWallet do the heavy lifting for your finances this year and head over to their 2025 Best of Awards at nerdwallet.com/awards to find the best financial products today.
So when you pose online as a teen, what's involved in that? I mean, because is it pictures of her putting on makeup or of his bedroom, or what exactly is involved in that?
Kids are layered. Teenagers are layered. They've got hobbies and interests and families and friends. And so we actually, it feels like we're creating someone out of thin air. We give them all the layers that a teenager would have. So they've got a middle name and an astrological sign and a favorite subject and a sport they play and hobbies and a babysitting job. And these are all things that we do because it's not just about, putting a kid online. We want to be believable. We want to get the people that are a little bit more practiced, that are a little bit more sophisticated. And so in order to do that, we have to kind of up our game as well. And they're looking for certain things. They're looking for a real kid. So we have to provide them the closest thing to a real kid that we can.
What does the perpetrator do first? Does he reach out and try to friend the child? Is that the first step?
Sometimes, there are a lot of different tactics, and sometimes it really just depends. Sometimes they play this like white knight role where it's like, Kim, be careful. There's a lot of bad people online. You really have to be careful. I'll look out for you. Like, you need someone like me in your life to protect you, to help you. And there is that level of befriending. And there's also something called grooming, right? Where it's the process of like getting a kid to trust you. And sometimes it's really just about getting a kid to say yes multiple times so they're comfortable with saying yes. So, oh, Kim, what did you eat for breakfast? Oh, I had oatmeal. Really? Send me a picture.
I
That
see.
feels like an innocuous enough request. So you send a picture of the oatmeal. What outfit are you wearing today? Send me a picture of the outfit. And then suddenly, like after a while, you're so used to saying yes that when a really egregious request comes across, it's really hard for a kid who's been groomed to say no. And we're very clear at SOSA, this is not a kid's fault, right? Like
Right.
these perpetrators are adults.
They're
and
manipulators is what
manipulating
they are.
kids. Oh, 100%. Yes.
It's just disgusting. It's horrible, but when the perpetrator now has groomed the child, at what point do you say, in your team, do you say, you know what, we need to get law enforcement involved?
So law enforcement is involved in the beginning where we're working together, where we run this op. And usually there are just some requirements, right? At any given time, if we're running 5 different decoys, each decoy is talking to probably 30 new adults per day.
Wow.
So that's a lot of incoming messages that we are kind of navigating. And frankly, we're triaging, like what's the most concerning here? And we're communicating with law enforcement and they're able to see the evidence in real time. And we kind of decide, okay, what arrests are we making today? Who wants to meet today? And then we go from there. So these perpetrators, when they reach out, they want to do a number of things, right? Sometimes it's abuse a kid online, but never meet. And abuse, it's still abuse. A kid can be abused and not be in the same room or state as an abuser. Sometimes they want to collect or distribute something called CSAM, child sex abuse material. Legally, we've always known it as child pornography. Sometimes they want to be a hands-on perpetrator where they want to meet that kid in real life. And those are the things that we're all looking for. A lot of these cases on the wall, they plan to do a meetup. They wanted to meet a kid in real life. They crossed state lines. They made a plan. They showed up with, materials that ended up being evidence because they wanted sexual contact with a minor.
Wow. God, it's just awful. It's just disgusting. I mean, and you are, you're doing such great work. How are you using AI, or how is AI changing your job?
AI is interesting because it feels like the Wild West, right? There's a lot of things that are happening, and it's not quite regulated yet. What we do find are people who are interested in collecting CSAM are also, there's now this AI-generated CSAM, which is definitely problematic. And our work, we're not necessarily using it in order to communicate with perpetrators. Sometimes we'll use it when it comes to editing images because, we're not teenagers. We would never put a real kid online, so we have to de-age ourselves. AI is interesting, and it's also really interesting that all of these social media companies are intent on using AI when it feels like maybe they should spend that time and effort in shoring up the security, the trust and safety portion of their apps.
Yeah, because basically, a kid goes online, signs up for an account, checks a box, says they're 13 or over, right? And they're not.
Yeah, kids can do math, right? It's very easy to figure out how old 18 is. So yes, I think it's good that apps age gate, but again, kids can do math. And this is actually something that I say on the stand, like, oh, this decoy was pretending to be, this decoy is supposed to be 13 and they're on this app. Well, yeah, kids are on all the apps because kids know how to do math. There needs to be some, that doesn't preclude an app or a company from making that platform safe.
Nerds. Listeners, as we go into a new year, we all have a lot on our plates. There are backpacking trips across Europe to plan, personal best to crush in the gym, and capsule wardrobes to create. Good thing our sponsor NerdWallet is here to take one thing off your plate, finding the best financial products. Introducing NerdWallet's 2025 Best of Awards list, your shortcut to the best credit cards, savings accounts, and more. The nerds have done the work for you, researching and reviewing over 1,100 financial products to bring you only the best of the best. Looking for a balanced transfer credit card with 0% APR? They've got a winner for that. Or a bank account with a top rate to hit your savings goals? They've got a winner for that too. Know you're getting the best products for you without doing all the research yourself. So let NerdWallet do the heavy lifting for your finances this year and head over to their 2025 Best of Awards at nerdwallet.com/awards to find the best financial products today.
So getting back to the perpetrator, are there telltale signs that you could pass along to your child to say, if these 2 or 3 things happen, aside from don't talk to strangers online. See, it used to be like you would say, like, don't talk to strangers, period. Okay.
Yeah.
And that was okay because they couldn't get in your house. Okay. But now every stranger, every nutcase, criminal, predator, whoever it may be, with that internet connection is sitting in your kid's bedroom or on their phone.
Yeah, what's interesting is people will always ask me, like, what are the bad apps? Is it Snapchat? And ultimately, it's really any app or website or platform where there's the capability of communicating. So there is this one company that we consulted with, and they said, hey, we're having a real issue with predators on our platform. What platform is it? It's a coloring book app.
Oh, gosh.
And it's simply, and I know for me and plenty of other parents, like we wouldn't think twice about downloading a coloring book app on an iPad and handing it to a kid and saying, here you go. But when there is the opportunity to communicate, then there's also the opportunity to abuse a kid.
Yeah, Roblox has been in the news a lot lately for their problems.
Yes.
I mean, are you seeing a lot of this in Roblox?
There are lots of different platforms that reach lots of different kids. And I would say that as long as there's the opportunity to communicate. So I'll give you an example, like the whole stranger thing. When we were kids, it was like if a guy comes up to you and says, hey, little girl, I lost my puppies. Can you help me find them? We knew that could potentially be a bad guy. Online, it's like, hey, do you have Discord? Do you have Snap? Do you have whatever? Because I just got some cute puppies. I'd love to show you pictures of them. And maybe they'll start on Roblox or another game, but they'll move to another platform so they can have those communications. And that is one way they do that. So, I tell kids, it's not enough to say don't talk to strangers because people make internet friends, right? Yeah. So it's really more about, here are some tactics. What are some things you can do? When do you raise your hand and tell someone something seems a little weird?
When do they raise their hand?
That's a good question. I mean, I have kids, and I say, you have to trust your gut. If something feels a little off or feels a little yuck, it's probably because it is, and that's okay. And I'll tell you, to their credit, my kids will raise their hands on things that end up being super benign, but I'm so glad they did. Oh, actually, it turns out this was a wrong number, but that's okay. I'm so glad you told me.
And that's it, is to have that open communication. When my son was little, I used the word, if you ever feel like something's uncomfortable, and there was one time that I remember he was, I don't know, on Xbox, and it was clear, he came in and goes, it's obvious that this is not a 14-year-old boy, And so it's having that open communication to say, if something feels off, like you said, I love that. I mean, if something just makes you feel yucky on the inside, and a lot of kids though are, they're lonely, but like you said, these predators, they don't care, and they go after anybody that they can, and it's just so sad.
Yeah, I would say that there are times where they're looking for certain things to exploit. And when it just comes to kids in general, like there's that frontal lobe isn't fully formed yet. Like being a teenager is hard. Middle school is hard. High school is hard. And, it's unfortunate because I think that one thing that we can all do, whether you're a parent or not, it's not about just getting like one bad guy at a time. It's really about empowering our communities to combat this together so we can be there for kids and help them through this as well. And also just know the signs, just be aware about it. That's so important. With the show, one great thing about the show is that it has raised so much awareness, and we love hearing that parents will sit with their teens or their tweens and turn on Max and pull up the show because it becomes a conversation starter for something that's bigger. And with my own kids, it's kind of like the sex talk. You don't just have it one time. We have it multiple times. We talk about it a lot. It's part of our regular family conversation because it's important.
Nerds. Listeners, as we go into a new year, we all have a lot on our plates. There are backpacking trips across Europe to plan, personal best to crush in the gym, and capsule wardrobes to create. Good thing our sponsor, NerdWallet, is here to take one thing off your plate, finding the best financial products. Introducing NerdWallet's 2025 Best of Awards list, your shortcut to the best credit cards, savings accounts, and more. The nerds have done the work for you, researching and reviewing over 1,100 financial products to bring you only the best of the best. Looking for a balanced transfer credit card with 0% APR? They've got a winner for that. Or a bank account with a top rate to hit your savings goals? They've got a winner for that too. Know you're getting the best products for you without doing all the research yourself. So let NerdWallet do the heavy lifting for your finances this year and head over to their 2025 Best of Awards at nerdwallet.com/awards to find the best financial products today.
So how many predators have you guys caught?
So the short answer is I don't know, because a lot of the work that we do also ends up in leads, because it gets kind of, our information will be forwarded to different law enforcement agencies kind of all over. And those could end up in an arrest. But cases that we've been a part of and we were there for the arrest and we're seeing that prosecution process and maybe I'm testifying in the trial, we're north of 70 now.
It's awesome. That's fabulous. It's
Thank you.
Congratulations. I mean, it's such impactful work that you're doing, and you are making a difference. And you don't know how many kids that you have saved. You don't know how many parents that have said have talked to their kids about, said, this is stranger danger on steroids. I mean, this is what we need to talk about. I know it's something that you don't want to talk about, but it's something that we need to talk about if you're going to be online, because you can't watch the kids 24/7 on the internet. I mean, let me tell you, I get the calls probably once every week on the show where some parent says, I want to be able to lock down the internet so that they can't go X, Y, or Z. Okay. They're going to get around it. They will figure a way around it. So just to lock the doors and not have communication and not talking to them about anything just does not make sense. I mean, yeah, parental controls are great and you should turn them on, but don't think that now you can just close the door and you don't have to worry about anything.
Well, even in school, they're issued laptops in school. They have to use the internet for school. Or we've had it where a parent will say, hey, we don't even have phones or tablets, but my kid went over her friend's house and this is what happened. So just having that basic understanding and knowledge and being aware, I think, is really important, irrespective of anyone's parenting style around devices.
Yeah, and then you also have the parents. I have a family member who his daughter's 15 and will not give her a phone. Mm-hmm. And so what she does is she uses her dad's phone. And, as I explained to him, I said, I'm not judging you as a parent, but I'm just telling you that I don't know if you're really helping her, because you're not teaching her about what life is like when in 2.5 years she's at college. And, we've all had that college friend that was drinking every night because, the parents locked them all down and they were like, whoa, okay, life is fabulous. So, it's hard, to strike that balance. And especially when the element that you're exposing is there every single turn looking for some vulnerability.
Yes. I love the internet. I think it's great. It's allowing us to communicate. It allows us to research things and get the news and talk to family members and a lot of other things. And so I think it's great that kids can use it to explore hobbies or learn new things. But there's also this portion of it that needs a seatbelt, that needs a warning label,
It does.
So I think that's, striking a balance is always important. Yeah, it's great. You can read up on such and such, but also just be aware if somebody messages you, here's what could happen, or here's what that might look like.
So your website, what kind of resources I'm sorry, pardon me. So on your website, I'm sure you have a ton of resources. Tell everybody what's out there.
Yeah, so on our website, it's sosatogether.org. We do have resources for folks that want to learn more about how to talk to kids or just the facts about online predation. And then also on our Instagram, we share a lot of useful information too, and we're at SOSA Together.
And then the show on Discovery?
Yeah, so it's called Undercover Underage, and it is streaming on Max. There's 2 seasons. And then for us as a team, we are going to be releasing episodes on YouTube in 2025.
That is awesome. Well, Roo, thanks for coming on, telling us what you're doing. Fabulous work. I'm incredibly proud of you. If there's anything that we can ever lend a hand to, please feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
You betcha. Okay, folks, so that was Roo Powell. She's from SOSA. Let me just say that. She's the founder of SOSA. That's Safe from Online Sex Abuse. And again, you should really check this out. And if you've got kids of any age online, you really need to talk to them about not just stranger danger, but really what's going on with the predators. Over at commando.com, we have a free contract for kids that covers a lot of the basic things. If you're looking for a starting point, head over to commando.com/contract. That's commando.com/contract. And thanks for being here.